Welcome to my playback of Almoravid from the Levi campaign series. This is volume 2, and this series is a way to explore medieval warfare. The lords are raising forces, hence Levi, and then they go on campaigns, which includes moving sieges and battles. So we'll be trying the first scenario from the game, which starts in 1085 and kind of features a siege of Toledo. And we're going to we'll start by using the kind of quick start scenario that they added on the website. And this is a great idea for starting, because the Levi part, which happens first, is also one of the harder parts. In this case, we just kind of have a pre-built Levi, and can kind of get more or less straight into the campaigning. This is the map at the start of the scenario. North is on the right. There's trouble in the Taifa of Toledo, and King Alfonso is going to take advantage of this. So Alvara Fanez is besieging Toledo, and King Alfonso is gathering with some of his lords off in Kingdom, getting ready to move, and several Muslim lords are also active on the periphery. Here's a close-up of the city of Toledo. You can see the jihad markers. It kind of gives the excuse for Alfonso to siege. The siege is underway with one marker, and Alvara Fanez is there. They also have a ravaged marker. Muslim lords are active in Zaragoza and in Valencia, and also one in Sevilla. Capability cards are an interesting way to customize lords for the strategy that the player decides on. And they can be really powerful in the right circumstances. That's why it's important for planning. And you can see here the capabilities attached to Alfonso. The scenario gives him battering ram, which is very useful for sieges, of course. And he's given Mesnod, which increases his command rating, which is pretty high. Along with some extra carts, the Christians mobilized Caballeria Villana, which basically makes it harder for the Muslims to ravage in the kingdom. Also, Alvar was given one of the vassals up his strength a bit. As for the Muslims, Al-Mastain was given Ribat monks, which is similar to what the Christians have for reducing the ravage capabilities. In this case, it's only in Zaragoza. Also, Al-Mutamid was given a couple of capabilities. Al-Garada and Hasham. This gives him extra command, but also lets him do ravage from a distance, which could be useful. And on the cardage, they also have Guadalquivir, which is basically mustering or making use of all the coastal shipping to move troops. So that enhances the movement capabilities. The quick start rules come with a campaign plan for both the Christians and the Muslims. And these are the cards laid out, kind of, it goes left to right. And it starts with Alfonso with some of the other lords too. But this kind of plan seems to support Alfonso getting to the siege of Toledo, and then maybe some flexibility after that. It's also interesting to see what's missing. There's no calls for Garcia or Sancho. So it looks like, at least for the beginning, Garcia will probably have to stick with King Alfonso, and Sancho will just be a threat. The Muslims don't necessarily know that there's no actions for him. Here's the campaign plan for the Muslims. basically alternating between Almastain and Almoravid, and then Abu Bakr following up on the end. We'll go ahead and start with the first command, and we flip it over, and that's Alfonso. What I think we want to do with Alfonso is move him towards the siege. Due to the Mesnada capability, Alfonso has command rating of 5. Looking at the path Alfonso will need to take, you can see it would be the roads for the first 4, but it'd have to be a pass to go into Toledo. And I guess we should check to see what we've got as far as transportation and provender. All the lords can share as long as they're together, so it looks like we have 6 provender and 11 transportation. Though only 4 of those are mules, so we actually couldn't take all that provender with us over the pass without having to pay extra. So I guess what we'll do is then we'll just move 4, and we'll take advantage of the fact that right now Almoravid is close to both of his seats, and we'll go ahead and take a supply action, and we can get 2 provender from that. I add the 2 extra provender to Alfonso's board, and we'll go ahead and make our 4 move actions. And each lord reduces their provender by 1. Now it's the Muslims' turn to go, and they draw Almoravid, and Almoravid will go ahead and tax and maybe save up some coin to buy the Count of Barcelona. It's Alfonso's turn. He'll go ahead and join this siege of Toledo. Looks like it's only 2 movements to get there, except for there's the pass, and I don't want to give up my supply, so I'll go ahead and spend 2 actions to go over the pass, and then 1 more action, movement action, to join the siege of Toledo. Now I have 2 commands left, and I could either try storming Toledo, but I'm not in that much of a hurry right now. But also it looks like with all the wagons and mules we have around, I actually can reach my seat and do some supply actions. So I'll go ahead and do 2 supply actions for 2 each, and then adding 4 more supply. Now it's the Muslim turn. We activate Almoravid from Sevilla. He doesn't start off with any provender, so the first thing we'll do is take a supply action, and since they have double seats, they actually gets 2 provender for 1 action. And we'll go ahead and take advantage of the capability for shipping to go all the way around to Lerida, and then go ahead and join Almastain and Zaragoza. Now it's the Christians' turn to move, so they'll move Pedro. There's going to be plenty of lords at Toledo, so he'll go ahead and move to the frontier. Unfortunately, has no supply, so he'll go ahead and pay a coin. That will offset the shift of service for no supply. Now it's the Muslim activation, so Almoravid will activate. He'll try to do a long distance raid with his Algarada card capability. Unfortunately for him, he has to worry about the Christian border guards, the Caballeria Villana. And he rolls a 6, so the raid fails. Okay, it's the Christian turn, and Alvar is activated. he'll just go ahead and initialize the siege, and with one siege tower and one ravaged marker, the number to hit is 2 or less. It's not very likely, but they have Alfonso has battering rams, so it can reroll 1 die. And unfortunately, the die roll is 2 numbers out of range, so re-rolling 1 won't help at all. So the siege fails, but you get to place a siege marker for next time. And we remove provender from each of the besieging lords. Now it's Muslim's turn. Now Mustaine is selected, and he taxes again. Got to get that gold. Moving right along, we got to the Christians phase. Alfonso's action comes up, and he decides to siege. And this time the chances are slightly better. With the ravage and the 2 sieges, there's all I have to do is 1 through 3, though it's on 3 dice, so it's still not likely, but it's a better chance than before. And the roll is another problem. 2 dice miss again, so the siege card doesn't help. We place another siege marker, and then we have to pay feed all the lords of the siege, and Alfonso's the only one with any provender at this point, so it takes off his. Now Mustaine comes up for an action again, and he continues preparation for later by 2 supply actions. Now it's Alvar's turn, and he's a little short on supply, so he's going to do some supply actions, and there's plenty of wagons and mules around to reach his seat, so he'll go ahead and do 4 supply actions and end up with 4 provender. Almoravid will activate now, and kind of in preparation for the next turn, go ahead and do supply actions, and we'll do 4 of them, end up with 4 supply. Alfonso will take the last Christian action and do a siege, and we have another bad die roll. The chances were 4 out of 6 for each die, right? Because of 3 siege tokens and the 1 ravage, so it should have been anything between 1 and 4. But since you missed with 2 dice, the battering ram won't help, because you can only reroll 1. So that kind of puts them in a bad way, because they're kind of counting on being able to have control of that city, so be able to do mustering during the levy phase. Anyway, that's water under the bridge right now. I'll have to take off the supply, and we'll go ahead and add the 1 siege marker, though it might do any good, because I think in the cleanup phase we'll be losing 1 of those. Now it's the final Muslim action with Abu Bakr. He'll go ahead and prepare for next turn by doing 2 supply actions and getting 2 provender. We've reached the end of the campaign phase, so we'll go into the end campaign, and as kind of alluded to earlier, we hit the repairs and we remove siege marker, since there's 3 or 4 markers there. Now it's time to deal with wastage. First, the Christians. The rule is fairly simple. If you have more than 1 of anything, including capability cards, you have to remove something. It doesn't actually have to be what you have more of, but just have to remove 1 of something. And so Alfonso will remove 1 coin. Garcia will remove a cart. Alvar will remove a provender, and Pedro will remove a cart. And now for the Muslims. think each lord will remove one provender. We have an opportunity to discard any capability cards we want, but we won't do that. And now we'll just move our marker to the next turn and switch it to levy.